Well, welcome everybody to the DJs Powerup Podcast. And today I am joined with Braxton. Braxton works with me at ADM Productions, and this is the first time doing an in-person interview episode, so I'm so excited that you're all here to be with us.
Yeah, super excited.
Awesome. We just went to Mex together, and it was both of our first DJ conference. What did you think about that?
That was awesome. Super informative and just really great people to meet. There's just so many DJs out there, and so it was nice to actually be able to meet some people in person.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I thought that the talks, they're really informative, and there was a lot of great stuff. Was there anything you liked out of the talks?
I really like the guy's talk. I can't remember his name, but the guy that gave the talk on burnout.
Burnout, yeah.
Yeah, I'm burning the candle at both ends, or both ends and the middle right now. So I definitely could speak on that, not burning out. So.
I learned so much, so it's hard to just pinpoint like a single lesson. But one thing that I really liked about like what Mike Walter was saying, because he had a lot of great insights, and a huge part of that was he was just saying like fish where the fish are when you're like searching for DJs in a multi-app. And he suggested looking after like musicians, actors, and radio DJs. And what I thought was kind of funny is he didn't like reference like club DJs or other mobile DJs, and which, you know, to my experience, that has also not been a great place to fish either, because a lot of people are kind of set in their ways. Mm-hmm. But me, I decided, you know, I come from a musician background, so I figured I'd search for other musicians, and so that is how I found you.
Yeah, so you found me on a musicians Facebook group. You were just put out an ad and just like, I'm searching for DJs. You don't need to have any experience. You don't need to have any equipment. Just need to be willing to come and learn the craft, and I'll teach you everything I know. And so I messaged you. I think that was December of 2020 when I messaged you. And you got back to me like February of 2021. You're like, hey, are you still interested? And I was just like, absolutely. And so we were able to get something on the books starting June 12th, I think it was our first gig together
Yeah, it was in Park City, one of those events over there. So
yeah, Blue Ranch, I think it was.
Yeah, Big Sky at Blue Ranch or something like that.
Yeah.
And so ever since then, Braxton has been an integral part of the company, and it's been great. And so, yeah, you come from a musician background, not just that, a classically trained musician background, and you were performing at the collegiate level at one point. Mm-hmm. So what made you decide to become a mobile DJ? Like, why did you respond to my ad? What's your journey?
So I had kind of started looking at DJing back in like 2018. I thought it would be a fun thing to do. Like I had always seen DJs, like I'd seen DJs out at the bars at that point, and I had also seen DJs just like portrayed in social media or like portrayed on TV kind of thing. And I was just like, oh, that'd be fun. Like mash up songs and like throw songs together, be able to blend them seamlessly together. Like I always just thought that the ability to mix has just boggled my mind. So I thought that would be fun. And so I looked at it a little bit, but then I, kind of tossed it away, and I was just like, nah, that's not my thing. But then you posted that ad, and I was just like, why not? We're in the middle of a pandemic, so, and I had stepped away from music at that point, and I was just like, I've got to figure out a way to get back into music. And the reason why I stepped away from music was because my hands prevented me from being able to continue on at the collegiate level. Ended up with tendonitis in both my hands because I was just practicing so many hours a day. You're required to practice a minimum of 3 hours, and you not only have to get ready for your jury pieces as a piano performance major, but you also have to get ready. You have to accompany other instrumentalists in their jury. So you're practicing your minimum of 3 hours on your jury pieces, plus another like 2 or 3 hours on their jury pieces. And so all of your time is just spent either doing homework or practicing. Your life is just spent at the college. And so my hands ended up giving out, and I went went to Slick for a year, did Slick for a year, and that just didn't end up working out. And so all I was doing was working, and you so graciously were just like, I'm willing to teach anybody. And I'm like, let that anybody be me, please. Because I knew I needed a way to get back into music, because music's just in my soul. I've been playing piano since I was 5. Like you said, I was classically trained. Being at the collegiate level was also classical training. And as much as I love classical music and I have a respect for classical music, it just doesn't vibe to my soul like, blues. Blues speaks to my soul like nobody's
Nice.
business. Probably one of my favorite genres to listen to, but not something you DJ very often. But I like even just modern music just speaks to my soul a little bit more than classical. And so I was just like, I've got to get back in. And when you gave me the opportunity, I was just like, all right, let's jump both feet first.
No, that's great. And Braxton's been killing it. I mean, yeah, you definitely mix better than I do. I think it just goes down to practice, and yeah, you've been tearing it up and you're doing great.
Thanks.
So how would you say that your experiences as a musician helped you hit the ground running as a DJ?
Just having a basic understanding of music. Being able to understand phrasing is a huge part of being able to mix properly. And
Yeah.
because of that, because I understand phrasing, because I understand counting, and because I'm able to sit down, listen to a piece, and figure out, okay, what time signature is it in, and how many beats are in a measure, kind of thing. And if I can figure out how many beats are in a measure, perfect, then I can figure out how many beats are in the chorus and a verse and that kind of thing. So then I can cover, all right, this is how much I need to cover from an intro. So then I'm going to put this intro over the chorus. And then that way, by the time I'm done with this chorus, I'm into this first verse of the next song. And also having an understanding of the keys and how keys interact with each other. And how to best mix key-wise, because you can't just mix BPM-wise.
BPM, yeah.
As a newbie DJ, I was so reliant on mixing BPM, but as I've realized, and I'm coming in on my 3rd year, and my 3rd year DJing with you, I've realized that DJing is so much more than just beat matching. It's so much more than just pushing a button. It's figuring out not only the beat, but it's also figuring out the key, figuring out the energy, figuring out the danceability, and all of these different aspects of it that go into a song. Because if one thing is off, and it's off just enough, it can throw off your dance floor vibe, and it can sometimes completely kill a dance floor.
I think a lot of DJs understand that, like, if there's silence in between songs as your transition, that is a dance floor killer. But there's all these other things too that are a little bit more subtle, but it kind of removes the momentum from the energy of the room. It just kind of is a pause. So yeah, it's good to know those things. And I took that for granted coming from the world of music into DJing, like how much work it is to know the mathematics and the technical stuff of music. Mm-hmm. How much do you think the experience performing as a musician helped with the nerves of performing as a DJ? Because as a mobile DJ, we're performing in front of a group of people, and we're having to talk on the microphone, and that not anybody can just do that. It takes a lot of nerves.
Yeah, it's definitely helped me prepare a lot, because like I said, I had to prepare for juries, and sometimes and I've also competed. I've done piano competitions as well as a younger kid, and so performing in front of judges was a thing that I did frequently, as well as we did little recitals with my private piano teacher. And because I was one of her more advanced students, I played the advanced pieces. And so everybody, when they came to the recital, yes, they were coming to hear their kids play, but they were also there to hear the more advanced piano players play.
Right. Yeah.
And they're just they're always on the edge of their seat of oh, what is he going to play next? And so I'm there to perform and make the recital worth it and entertaining for not only the parents but for the kids, and show the kids hey, this is what you can do if you practice. But no, sorry, I totally lost my train of thought. What was the question again?
Just how there's so much nerves.
Yes, the nerves.
Live.
Yeah, so you just having to perform the piano live has translated over to DJing so much, just because you have to take a deep breath, you have to slow your nerves down, because if you start thinking too fast and you start allowing yourself to think too fast, then you start getting ahead of yourself, and then you're not able to mix properly, and then you start mixing offbeat, and then you start mixing ahead of like almost 4 bars ahead, and you're just like, and so you have to really rein yourself back in. And it's the same concept when you're playing piano, or when I was playing guitar and I was performing with guitar. You have to slow down, because if you don't slow down, your fingers start moving too fast, and if your fingers start moving too fast, you're gonna hit wrong notes.
Yeah.
And that happens, and sometimes you hit the wrong cue point. It's just like hitting a wrong note. You hit the wrong cue point, or you hit play at the wrong point, and then you have to quickly be able to...
You have to recover.
Yeah, and you can't recover if you're thinking too fast. You have to slow yourself down and go, it's okay, it's fine, everything's fine. Like, we've got this, and then recenter, and once you've recentered yourself, get yourself back on track.
I think this is an interesting question, because I think a lot of musicians have perceptions of DJs before they become one. So it sounds like you already had some experiences, like seeing DJs at bars and stuff. But what was your overall perception of DJs before you decided to become one?
I will say that I was one of those musicians that judged DJs harshly. I was not. I was not kind to them. I definitely called them button pushers.
As a pianist?
I know, right? As a pianist, I literally push buttons all day long when you're playing piano. But you have 10 different things going on, or technically 12 different things going on at once, because you have both of your feet playing on pedals, and then you have each individual finger going, and then you also have to think about your arms and everything. Like, it's this whole entire process. What most people don't realize is how involved piano is. And so, because they're just like, oh, well, you just sit down and you tickle the ivories, and it's just like, yes, but there's so much more. Well, being a DJ, it's, well, you just push buttons, and it's just like, yes, but there's so much more.
So much more.
I will be first to admit, though, before I became a DJ, that I was one of the people that called DJs button pushers. And because I didn't think they were full musician, because they were just playing other people's music.
Right, exactly.
But I mean, in the same breath, there are how many jam bands out there that make money, and how many cover bands out there that make money off of being an AC/DC cover band, or a Led Zeppelin cover band.
And were you playing original music at your piano recitals, or
I was playing classical. Exactly. So I was already playing other people's music. It's not like I was playing my own music all the time, if ever. And so I definitely had to rethink a lot of things when I became a DJ, because there is a lot more skill involved with becoming a DJ than a lot of people realize. That you can't just start being a DJ with no music knowledge whatsoever and expect to be successful.
Expect to be successful, because to be able to get up there and perform as a beginning DJ takes a lot less effort than performing as a beginning band. It takes a lot of coordination to like learn the songs and rehearse it with a band versus a DJ. But to be a DJ that does it well, yes, and to be successful doing it, it takes a lot of work.
Yeah, definitely. Because, anybody can go out and buy a $300 controller. They already have their computers at home, or their laptops or whatever, because who doesn't have a laptop nowadays, or even an iPad or an iPhone, or any kind of smartphone. If you have a smartphone and you have $300, you're set. You can start DJing today.
Yep.
Which is kind of unfortunate for us. In the same breath, what really makes our company stand out is that we are musicians, and because we are musicians first, we recognize that we read the music first before we just push play. We think about the music. We think about, okay, what kind of energy do I have right now in the room? What kind of energy am I wanting to go for next? Am I wanting to bring it back? Am I wanting to bring it forward? Am I wanting to keep it the same? Where am I wanting to move this, and how can I move this? And you have to think about that as a musician when you are playing a song, because if you were just playing a song when I say one note, I don't mean a literal one note, but when you're playing a song on one note, on a single note, in the sense of one note dynamics, one note timbre, like that kind of thing, where you're, you might be playing multiple notes, but if there's no expression to it, if there's no dynamics to it, then nobody's going to want to hear you play again.
Right,
they're going to boo you off.
robotic.
Yeah, they're going to boo you off the stage, and they're going to say, bring on the next act. Well, you kind of have to think about that in the same way that you do DJing, is if you're playing, and that's something that I've had to learn as a new DJ, is if you're playing the same energy all night long, they're going to boo you off the stage. You can't play banger after banger after banger after banger. You have to mix it in with ebbs and flows, ups and downs. Well,
Right. Kind of tell a story.
exactly. And so to be a great DJ, you have to learn how to tell a story with other people's music. It is so much, I feel, that it's much easier to be able to tell your own story with your own music because you are creating it and you're building it from bottom up. And so you get to figure out what building blocks you're going to put into your music. It's all you. But as a DJ, you have to figure out, okay, I've got these certain building blocks to work with. How do I put them together? Because right now, they don't look like they're going to fit together.
Yeah.
And so I just, I just think that being a DJ is just so much more involved, and that's coming from a musician that used to call DJs button pushers.
Yeah, I used to too. I mean, I saw videos of DJs. It's like, oh, look, there's people paying money to go see a laptop. But, it's about the performance. If you notice those same videos, people are vibing, people are dancing, people are having a good time. And as a DJ, it's about, creating that overall experience. And I think that there's some overlap of skills, but there's also some different skills. And
Oh, definitely.
And I think that kind of just pushing aside those like prejudices as a musician can really help us progress as DJs. Do you feel like there's been any sort of experiences you've had as a musician that held you back as a DJ?
My inherent perfectionism. I suffer from severe case of perfectionism.
You have to as a piano player that's playing in competitions.
Yeah, absolutely. Being competition, being at the collegiate level for 3 years, I was at the University of Utah, and
My alma mater too.
yeah, and I would have loved to have continued there, but I think part of the problem that kind of pushed me to leaving with not only being my hands, being the main proponent, but just the competition that's there. It's not friendly competition. It is very cutthroat.
It's not collaboration.
No, they like to think it is, but it's not. At least not. It's not necessarily in the classical department. It may be in the jazz department because jazz is all about collaboration.
Totally.
But classically, you are kind of, it's almost like you're forced into collaboration. And I might be shot dead for saying this about my alma mater, but I just felt like there was just so much competition and not enough collaboration. And and with that, because you're so competitive against each other, you're just driving yourself to be perfect all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something that's unfortunately has carried over into my DJing, where my partner, he comes with me to the gigs and he helps me out with the gigs. And this most recent gig that I had for Challenger School, I at the end of the gig, I was railing on myself about all of the things I did wrong. And, not only did the teachers come up to me, but the one that keeps hiring me back and hired me back for the 3rd year in a row, she is trying to convince the other schools to hire me.
Yeah.
And and then my partner, he's just like, you did such an awesome job. That was a really good gig. And I'm just sitting there just railing on myself of every little minute detail that I did, then everything that quote unquote went wrong, which,
Right.
things are going to go wrong. Things are going to happen, especially in this climate and the way music is nowadays with the fact that there is just so few genuinely clean music that you have to listen to every single lyric before you play a song. And even then, you could think that one song is great, and then all of a sudden the second verse comes in, and they're all talking about drinking, and the first verse and the chorus were perfectly fine, and you're just like, oh nope, have to switch out of that song. And so, those kinds of things, I start railing on myself. And so that's just the one thing that I would say that has kind of held me back as a DJ, is just this overbearing drive for perfectionism. It's one thing to want yourself to be better and want yourself to do better, but it's a whole other thing to just rail and rag on yourself because you're not perfect, which is an impossibility.
Yeah, you have to have a balance between like caring, because if you don't care, then you're not going to progress. But yeah, if you have perfectionism, then yeah, you're not celebrating the wins.
Yeah, exactly.
So how has becoming a DJ these past 3 years affected your long-term goals as a musician?
It's definitely changed it. I want to continue on with DJing. It's not something that, like I said, I kind of touched on it in 2018, like where I looked at it a little bit, but not a lot. Like never bought myself like controller or anything like that. So it was never really in my wheelhouse of vision. And so nowadays, it's definitely something I want to continue doing. I want to continue building with ADM Productions, and hopefully eventually leave Utah and build my own DJ business and stuff. And but what I would really love to do with DJing is I'd love to be able to get into middle schools and high schools and put on assemblies and mix my DJing with inspirational speaking about mental health and the stigmas behind mental health in that age group of middle school and high school.
Nice. Your DJ name is The Crazy Kid Next Door.
Yes.
So what inspired you to choose that name?
So speaking of mental illnesses, I personally have a few mental disorders that I suffer from, and have since I was a really young teenager. I moved to Utah from Las Vegas, Nevada, in 2010. And I am number 4 of 8 kids. And I come from a mixed family, so both my parents are white, but my 3 youngest siblings are black. And so we have both a white and black family. And I moved to Holiday, Utah. And Holiday, Utah is very much a white community.
Does Mitt Romney live out there?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. Yeah, wouldn't be surprised. But predominantly white, like I'm talking like 99%. The 1% is everybody else that's in the color community. But they're also very, very religious out there, and not open to outsiders, essentially, and that also played a part in the developing of my mental disorders. But what ended up happening is, as a young teen, as my disorders started getting worse, there were a few times that I ended up attempting on my own life. And because of that, there were a couple of times that my parents had to call an ambulance and call the cops on me. And with that meant the wee-woo wagons came, lights a flashing. And so I got nicknamed the Crazy Kid Next Door by the kids my age. And so when I became a DJ, I decided to take that name that I was so lovingly given by my classmates and by my neighbors. I decided to take that name and kind of turn it into something fun. That I'm there to have a crazy time with you. Like, that's all I want, is I want to be able to bring happiness, joy, and positivity into somebody's life through the music that I'm sharing with them, through the party that we are trying to throw for them. And so, yes, I might be a little kooky and crazy, but I am in all the best ways.
No, I love that. And I think I was 14 when I saw like the School of Rock with Jack Black, and he said to the kids like one good rock show can change the world. I mean that sounds kind of corny and cheesy, but to me that's what it is. Music is about bringing everyone together. It's like the most inclusive thing ever. And I've thought that throughout my entire life, even going to like metal concerts as an adult. I'm seeing people there with like their children on their backs and people that are dressed in various different ways, including religious people, but we're just all there to have a good time. It brings us together, and so, yeah, I love that, and I try to incorporate that with ADM Productions too, so just try to have an inclusive, good time.
Yeah, music is so important. Music has definitely saved my life. I will say that until my dying breath, that music saved my life, and that's just something that I want to be able to bring to everybody, because like you said, it's the one universal language that we can count on, because it doesn't matter your background, doesn't matter how old you are, your demographic, it doesn't matter. If you like the same music as I do, awesome, let's go headbang together.
Right. And that's what drives me crazy when I see musicians get political. Like actors, I don't care as much, but musicians, I just feel like the music just brings us together, so we can just put aside the politics, put aside the religious differences, and have fun, you know?
Yeah.
So if people are looking to book Braxton, go to admdj.com. I know exactly how to book him because I'm the one that helps book him. And if people want to follow you personally, how can they do so?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at DJBraxD_TCKND. So the crazy kid next door, just TCKND.
We'll have a link in the description below, and it's probably going to be an overlay of this video. Well, anything else you'd like to share with our viewers today?
No, this guy's just awesome. Love working with him. Seriously, has opened so many doors for me, and I cannot thank him enough for being able to come on and be his DJ.
And well, thank you for coming onto my podcast and helping share your story with other people. Because, I mean, I became a DJ because I wanted to perform more, and DJing has definitely opened that door for me, and I love it. So, well, thank you everybody for tuning with us today, and we will see you in the next episode.